Okay, folks, moving on. Next is our infrastructure panel. Please welcome Charlie Jenkins, Port Houston CEO, Varuna Singh, TxDOT Deputy District Engineer, and our moderator, Dennis Winkler of Winkler Publications. How about some applause to get him up on the stage?
Okay, I think we have volume now. Hey, Bob, thank you very much for the introduction. And I feel pretty good about this morning, even though it's the first panel of the day. But I don't have a whole lot to do because I have two subject matter experts who have been in this region for quite some time. One who works by land and the other who works by sea. Varuna, you are the one who does our land projects. Charlie, obviously you do the sea, but we'll learn more that it's a lot more than just the water for the Port of Houston. But both of these gentlemen have positively impacted how we transport people as well as product to the most critical industrial and maritime corridors in the U.S. And as important as their jobs are, they're more important to us, the Economic Alliance, as partners in helping us get a lot of things done. Varuna Singh is Deputy District Engineer for TxDOT's Houston region. All the bios are in the Houston Business Journal, supplements that are on your table. Bob Charlet, thank you to Houston Business Journal for sponsoring as our media partner. If you look at the bios, you'll note that Varuna has experience handling some high-profile highway projects throughout Texas. He's a recognized transportation expert, and we're fortunate to have him in this region, especially during this time of some high activity, and you'll have a chance to hear directly from him about that. Charlie Jenkins recently took on the role of Chief Executive Officer of Port Houston, but again, he's not a stranger to us. He has been a part of and working in the foreground and background on most of the very critical transportation projects that we have had in this region. And again, we'll hear more from Charlie regarding the project updates. And I guess there's at least one that's coming close to completion. We'll talk about that, and maybe there's some other hints. But before Varuna kicks off, let me remind you that if you have a question, please submit it via Slido. You can see the QR code is up there. You can do that, send in your questions. We do want to hear what's on your mind. Your questions will be better than the ones I can ask, so please submit them. Varuna. I mentioned TxDOT has been busy in this region. Tell us a little bit about the significance of the Highway 146 project in Kemah, Seabrook area, kind of the scope, cost, impact, maybe even the level of difficulty.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. And I want to thank Economic Alliance for having me here today. Economic Alliance has been a valued partner for TxDOT as we look at the growth that's coming in partnership with the port and keep us focused on providing the infrastructure for the Houston region, particularly the southeast portion of the Houston region. So 146, Kemah and Seabrook, we wrapped up that project earlier this year with a ribbon cutting in May. It was a $200 million plus reconstruction of 146. Hopefully some of you have driven it. It reconstructed the frontage roads, the main lanes, as well as added an 2-mile-long express lanes in addition to the main lanes. You mentioned, Dennis, complexity. So the water is right there. So when you're trying to build a highway, a lot of utilities, constrained right-of-way, a lot of traffic. We value our municipal partners, inclusive of Seabrook and Kemah, and we know mobility is important for tourism, for their businesses, and I'd be lying to tell you that it went smoothly. We appreciate the patience of both Kemah and Seabrook throughout that construction, but we're excited to have that behind us.
Well, let's, I guess if we're looking at the map, let's go up a little bit to the north, and you have LaPorte, 225,
so
146.
It's kind of the blessing of a growing region, right? So the gift keeps giving, right? So we're moving north. We're under construction right now from Red Bluff to Spencer Highway. $100 million plus widening, reconstructing bridges over cross streets, frontage roads reconstruction, widening the main lanes. So all in the bucket of mobility. We know the port's growing. We know the cities are growing. And we're barely able to keep up with the demand on the infrastructure. And the team is focused on the investments on State Highway 146 and our partners, LaPorte, and the Port of Houston.
Okay, let me take it just to another one here, and that's the direct connectors.
Yeah.
Tell me a little, I think it's underway. I know as I drive it, I see a lot of traffic. You mentioned traffic earlier. So tell me a little bit about what's going on there and what's going to be the benefit of that.
Yeah, so right now there are no direct connector ramps. So you have to go through the frontage road box, as I call it, to get between the main lanes of Beltway 8 and 225. We are excited about partnering with HECTRA, Harris County Toll Road Authority, and they're going to deliver all 8 direct connectors in 2 phases. All right.
Wait. Did you hear that? Let me ask again. Did he say all 8 direct connectors? Come on now. Come on.
All right.
We know how important that is.
So
Varuna, thank you.
In 2 phases, so I don't want to overpromise for HECTRA. So phase 1, they've received bids. I believe they awarded it to a contractor. The first 4 in phase 1 are going to basically be the ramps you'll be able to be on Beltway 8 and take the ramps to 225. So if you're going north on Beltway 8, you'll be able to go east-west on 225. If you're southbound on Beltway 8, you'll be able to go east-west on 225. So that's phase 1. Phase 2 will go to construction. I believe HECTRA will receive bids in mid-2026. So if you're on 225, you'll be able, let's say eastbound, you'll be able to go north-south on 228 or Beltway 8, and if you're westbound on 225, you'll be able to go north-south on Beltway 8. So that's phase 2, the other 4 direct connectors. So we took, 225 TxDOT maintains, and Beltway 8 HECTRA maintains the main lanes as a toll facility. And so it is truly a partnership, and we're always looking for those opportunities to leverage our dollars with their dollars, and they're going to deliver that great project for this part of the region. It's a long time coming. We're excited about it as they are, so we're excited.
All right, I know you have some more exciting things coming. I'm going to hold off for a second, but I do want to use that word, box, the feeder road box. Next time I'm in that box, I'm going to call and say, hey, honey, I'm going to be late for dinner because I'm sitting in the box, okay? It's a new term for me, but I can relate to it. Charlie, I guess I can't do one of these without asking you at least for a Project 11 status update. What's going on there?
Sure. Well, Project 11 is the 11th major expansion of the Houston Ship Channel. The first one was in the mid-1800s. The last one started in 1968 and went up to 2005. It's really about widening and improving the ship channel to make it safer. There's also parts we're deepening, really for economic development. And the project is going very, very well. We're at least a decade over the normal federal process to the success of our team and our partners. It's $1 billion project. The bay portion you see on the map, the bottom portion is the white is all completed. The blue part between 2 and 1A will be completed this fall. And then the deep water access from the Gulf of Mexico up through all of the Barber's Cut facilities will then be available by the end of this year. Further up the channel, there's more going on, some really neat things. The Corps just awarded Segment 3. They've scheduled, their schedule is to be done by Q4 27. They've hired a great partner of McCarthy and Callan Dredging. They're going to try to be done much, much faster than that, bringing the safety and the economic development faster. And all in all, the project is just going gangbusters for the benefit of the region.
Let me ask you the importance of this. And it's really the importance more than just the projects. It's the entire economic development of the region and the port. So tell us, give us some of those facts about how important Port Houston is to us.
Oh, absolutely. So, next slide, Chad. So first off, we have about $1 trillion of economic development behind the port. That spurs an annual economic impact of about $906 billion to the nation, about $440 billion to the state of Texas. The taxes are like $68 billion nation and real close to $11 billion in the state of Texas. And it has been remarkably successful, and it brings its own problems because of the success of this room and all of our partners. The port is growing very, very dramatically. I like to equate it back to George Mitchell, who created fracking, who brought in low-cost feedstock that made our industries very competitive, that a lot of retooling of our industries, a lot of redevelopment. And the port has just been on a very fast growth since those things have occurred. The Corps puts out federal statistics. They just did 2022 in April. It takes that long to gather up the nation. And the Port of Houston the Port of Houston region, all of us combined, really had some remarkable success. The annual growth in the port was, I think it was 27.8 million tons was the annual growth. That's bigger than 84% of all U.S. ports. That was our annual growth. The gap between us and number two, the Port of South Louisiana, basically the big part of the Mississippi River, expanded by 61% in our dominance over number two. We grew to about 68 million tons of gap between us and number two. The economic growth that came from that was just phenomenal. It's reflected in these numbers. And it today is about 20% of the Texas GDP, just to put that to scale. So it's big, it's important. It's not just important to our region or Texas, but clearly to the entire nation. And we're just trying to figure out how to keep that activity going.
You know, I think I would actually add on to that. It's important to the world because you are the largest tonnage, foreign tonnage, is that correct?
By far the largest foreign tonnage in the United States, 293 million tons per year in 22. And we're growing since then.
Thank you. Boy, how lucky, fortunate, or blessed are we to be in this economic development region and have that type of growth. How much of a percentage over that South Louisiana port? I want to hear you say that again.
Well, the growth increase in that 1 year time period was 61% in the market share.
Oh.
So I'm sorry, I love stats. We're about 12% of every ton of cargo moved in the United States, we're 12% of it. Or about 1 out of every 8 tons is through our port.
Okay, now that's a nice segue, Charlie, thank you, to go back to Varuna to talk a little more about what are we doing to make those vehicles that are on the road from the port be able to move and move safely as well as our people.
Yeah, well, not enough as quickly, I'll tell you. So we knew this day was coming because we're in constant communication with the port, Port Houston. And so what we've got under development, early planning and environmental for us is reconstruction and widening of State Highway 225 from 146 to 610, the ship channel. As well as 610, we're looking at 610 globally, the ship channel, not just the bridge over the ship channel, but north of I-10 and all the way west of 45. And the main reason for that is you've got the interchange of 610 and I-45, close proximity to 25 with 610, and you've got I-10 with 610. So just the proximity of all those interchanges with their respective direct connector ramps poses operational challenges for mobility and folks trying to get between facilities in a short distance. So what we have completed is an early preliminary engineering linkage study to look at the needs for both 225 and 610. What that found is managed lanes in the middle of the regular lanes that we know today are warranted. The consensus with all the stakeholders, including the cities, the port, and the county, is because of the constrained right-of-way of 225, a lot of utilities, this crowd probably knows what I'm talking about, right? Pipelines, galore, that is an expensive proposition to go wider, and so we're going taller instead. We're gonna have to take some right-of-way on both sides of 225. There's probably no way around that, but being able to go taller with the managed lanes vastly reduce the amount of right-of-way we'll need for 225. So what we're doing right now is breaking up the corridor into two big segments. Call it the western piece from 146 to Beltway 8. We're procuring a consultant right now to help us work on a detailed schematic and environmental study to get environmental clearance. And then we'll take that into detailed design. I'll be counting on all the partners in this room to advocate for funding. You bet I'm going to be using his numbers and his statistics to try to advocate for funding, because this roadway, supports the health of the port, and we have a deep appreciation. Our administration in Austin has a deep appreciation for the value of the Port of Houston, not just for this regional economy, not just for the state economy, but as said earlier, for the national economy. And so that's 225, and then we'll pivot to the western segment from Beltway 8 to 610 and do a similar environmental schematic study. While we're doing that, we'll also look at 610, like I said, north of I-10 to west of I-45. Obviously, the crown jewel, as it were, is replacing the 610 bridge over the ship channel, 610 ship channel bridge. It's an old bridge for TxDOT. We're spending a lot of money to keep it going. It's over 50 years old, so it's time for us to start thinking about and planning for and budgeting for a big initiative. That's going to be $1 billion plus bridge, and so we're also proposing managed lanes along 610 to try to get that through traffic going, whether it's freight, whether it's personal mobility. We think they're warranted west of 45 to north of I-10 to get traffic flow going. So that's at a high level, 610. Stay tuned. And remember this day, I'm going to ask for your patience for those that live in the region, this part of the region, when we're in construction, because we're going to need it. It's a tight corridor, both 610 and 225. So we're going to have to be creative in terms of constructability, relocating utilities, but there's no question both corridors are needed in terms of improvement.
I like the way they drop billion-dollar figures. It's kind of the way I drop quarters and dollars with the grandkids, right? Wow, that's significant money. Now, knowing that we were going to see these slides coming over the 610 bridge this morning by Port Houston, Charlie, that's going to impact you guys. What are you doing? How do you work with TxDOT to make sure that that's working for you?
Yeah, and I want to make sure everybody clearly understands this. We have an incredibly deep, robust partnership with TxDOT, with HGAC, with Harris County, with the various cities, all about transportation. There's a root cause to the challenge we're all facing, and it's our success. We're growing fast as a region. Industry is able to put a new facility in place, or the port, in, let's say, 18 months to 3 years. TxDOT to build roadway capacity, I don't know, Varuna, 10 years, 8 years, something like that. It's a very long process. So as fast as we've been growing, the system isn't set up to support it as strong. We all recognize it. We're talking at the highest level of leadership, from the governor's office to the TxDOT commission, through all of the partners that we have on this problem, to figure out what we can do to face it. But they are important. They are good problems. It beats the hell out of the other, that we're shrinking or not developing and not growing. But it brings challenges that we just have to face in partnership. And I think we've got some thoughts and strategies together on how to better and better effectuate that change and limit the congestion that comes with that success. In terms of 610 Bridge, that's actually a very exciting project to the port. That bridge, there's two things up inside 610. If you've gone over that bridge, you see the big port in there. That's the old part of the port. We have docks since 1914 that still operate, that still do very, very well. That area of the port has not been improved in terms of new capacity since the 1950s. And oddly, its growth curve is sort of in a sine curve with a line through the middle. The cargo has been very, very consistent. It doesn't really change much. It goes down a little bit, it grows up because it's constrained. It's constrained from two things: the depth of the water and the height of the bridge. So TxDOT working to replace the bridge. There's plans to make it a little bit taller to be able to further handle the cargo demand that's there. And we're working with Project 11 to deepen that area of the port 4 feet, which is generational. Since the 1950s, it hasn't been improved. That would be segments 5 and 6 on this map that just flashed up. And that's really going to cause a good change for the general and the break bulk cargo industries. That stuff that is used to build stuff, that is used to make stuff to be in the supply chain, to go around the world to make products that become consumer goods. It's machinery, it's cotton, it's a lot of pipe, a lot of steel plate, a lot of the components that allow industries to develop. And it's a very important part of our marketplace, but it hasn't been able to grow because of those constraints. So the 2 projects alone are going to provide more capacity, and it's going to be exciting to see what those things can do in support of our economies.
No, good summary on that. Exciting news, too. I think my follow-up question to that would be, both of you have talked about partnerships. Varuna, you've actually said you're going to rely on this organization, this region. What do you need from us, other than advocating for the funds?
Yeah, so I was at an event yesterday, and I shared that I think all of us can appreciate when we support things, we tend to keep it quiet or keep it to ourselves because we know it's the right thing to do. When it comes to infrastructure, though, and I'm sure Charlie would agree, to your question, remain engaged. We, the agency, TxDOT, and I'll speak for all public agencies, we need to know from the public and from stakeholders when you support infrastructure, right? Don't take it for granted. We know and we can trust it. We need that support registered officially. TxDOT has a number of public comment periods. I know it's kind of mundane and it takes time, but drop a note. And give us feedback. We're always looking for feedback on how to make our projects better. The only way we can get better is if we get those ideas. We also like your support also, and if we're not doing something right, we want to hear about it. So stay engaged with individually, with your families and friends, stay engaged with your businesses, stay updated on the projects. Support the agencies trying to get this work done so we can keep up with the growth that's coming, and so it doesn't become, infrastructure doesn't unnecessarily stifle growth, right? So the Economic Alliance has been a great partner to try to galvanize business and governmental entities to bring that support for our projects, and I know for sure for the Port of Houston project. So engagement, sustained engagement throughout the process.
I see one direct question, and you may not be the one to answer. This may be a Hector thing, but anybody who's using the toll bridge, Beltway 8 bridge, having that lane coming from north to south down to 1 lane, how soon will that be alleviated? Do you have?
I don't.
Okay. I tried.
You did try. No, unfortunately, I don't. So that gets back to patience, right, during construction. So I would say hang in there. I know they're motivated to keep progressing. I know we have a good relationship with Hectra, so I'm sure they'll be able to answer the question on.
All right, another quick transportation follow-up. One of the questions is around the Lynchburg Ferry. Is there anything planned to maybe make that a bridge to cross the channel there? Or maybe that would impact Port Houston pretty badly.
So this was not in the script.
No.
I'm actually not aware of any plans, but we'll be at the table with Harris County and the port to see what's possible.
Dennis, if you don't mind me
please.
adding some to that, just had a very, very interesting conversation with Precinct 2 Commissioner Adrian Garcia. He brought that exact question to me about a week ago, and we're having a dialogue, and we're about to begin that in deeper stages with Hector about it. Lynchburg Ferry, Washburn Tunnel, that area has some transportation challenges, and it's older infrastructure. If there's a bridge, I promise the port will fight to make sure it's really tall. So it would look very similar to the other bridges that are being built, or the Beltway 8 bridge, maybe, something like that. But really it needs to go where freight needs it, where the supply chain needs it. And I think that there's a couple studies that have been started by the county to try to figure out how to deal with it, what the best demand is, and what the future should be for a long-term project. I would also like to say, just very briefly on this challenge that we've put out there, even if this group, which is all of us are growing, which is the freight demand, stop today growing, the demand of that cargo is still going to grow, and I still think that congestion's coming. We just have to figure out how to get on top of it to minimize the impact to society, to ourselves, our families, the commuters, but also the impact to our ability to continue to develop and grow. I do see it as a very big issue. The port's going to be investing more and more in support and develop smart plans to address it. And one of the obvious things right now is our roadway capacity by freight is really used the same time, daylight, just you leave it at that, same time as the commuter. And it has very low utilization at night. And we've got to be thinking about how can we better utilize the asset, how can we get rid of peaks and flatten the curve, how can we use the asset when it's underutilized more efficiently to prevent some of that congestion and growth. And those are some interesting challenges that would involve everybody in this room as we work to change society to also, in the culture, to working at night or on weekends, which is a big shift. But that's one of the potential things that can be done quickly, more quickly, to provide some relief in the system.
Since I went a little bit off script with the last one, and these are driven somewhat by questions, Charlie, I do want to ask you a little bit about future development with the port, and how do you look at, or the port looks at, how manufacturing has changed? Obviously we've been blessed with over $18 billion worth of investment in this region, but we know there's a lot of international trade taking place. So how do you adjust for that as a port?
So the goal of the port is to have infrastructure in place just in time to meet market demand. It's to be in front of it. On the container side, in the general cargo side, we've been very successful. On the bulk side, we've been very successful in our 8 terminals in meeting that demand. On the inland transportation, the system isn't set up to respond as quickly, and so again, we're giving more and more focus to that. On the private industry side, we work on providing a channel for industry to be able to use. We do not regulate, in many ways, the industrial development of the port of all of our private partners. There's over 200 private facilities up and down the port that are also all growing. What we do, and Project 11 is all about it, is make sure we provide infrastructure to reduce risk, reduce cost, and improve levels of service. It's very simple. Any business doing that will be successful. And we've been working towards that, and that's why there will be a Project 12 in our future. We're already working through that process to continue to provide that capacity to meet that market demand.
I didn't have to ask you this time to tell us about Project 12. Thank you. But I know you can't say too much. So one of the things, and obviously I mentioned earlier somewhat, cryptically, by land, by sea. I forgot to say rail. And so what's the impact first for the port from rail, and Varuna, to you, what do you have to look at when you're building roadways to make sure we're not disrupting rail? I'll start with you. Yeah.
Okay, so first off, this is a fascinating statistic. If the rail system was taken out of Houston, we'd have 9 million more trucks per year in the community. 9 million are currently taken off by the present rail capacity. And the market controls, the economy controls what mode of transportation is used. And by the way, we need every one of them. We have pipeline, we have barge, we have ship, we have rail, we have truck. Those are all modes of freight transportation. Every single one of them is critical, and in the free market, the lowest cost, best, highest value is going to win in carrying that capacity. Rail is absolutely critical. So the one that I'm hit with a lot, and I'll just turn this into the container market, is, and I saw the question about Bayport and having more rail access. I'll start off with fact. When Bayport was designed, I was part of the master planning team that created the facility from concept, from dirt up, and we, talking to all the pundits, all the experts around the nation in supply chain logistics and terminal development, predicted 50% intermodal rail for Bayport's future, and that's how we designed the rail yards. Today, we are a few percent, and it's because of the growth of our region. The cargo we're handling is local. It's not going, for the most part, the great majority, it's not going long distance. Guys, we're not going to be able to ever have a train travel a short distance effectively versus compete versus a truck. So most of our container traffic is truck driven because of where it's going to for two reasons. One, it's going to the consumer base of Harris County and Houston in this region, which is growing very, very fast. So there's a big demand from all of us, and then the shift in the supply chain with e-commerce and all these things is increasing that demand. And then the industrial growth that's happening with it. A lot of the products produced in the Houston Ship Channel transport via container to international destinations. Our number one export product for containers, and by the way, we are 97% of the container traffic in Texas, and I believe about 75% of the entire Gulf of Mexico, the United States, from Florida through Texas. That is going by truck from those facilities to the container terminals, or from Orange and Beaumont to the container terminals. So to be honest, if we built that infrastructure capacity now, it won't be used because it's way too expensive in the supply chain. So things will change. So to me, in the container side, a lot of the intermodal is about driving down the cost, making it more effective. Today, we have products going to Denver, to El Paso, to Dallas, and a few other places, but it's a couple percent of our overall volume. So if we hadn't grown, I think we'd be supplying more of the business to the Midwest in train-worthy distances, but we haven't. We've grown so much, that hasn't developed. That would be a secondary cargo base to us. And another thing about the intermodal, one of the reasons of the port existing is to enhance and develop the economy. And then we run a business to help pay for part of it. That's what our terminals and those operations are. But on that economic driver, if you were to ask an economist, do you want local cargo or do you want cargo to go through your facilities? It's very, very simple. The job multiplier, the tax multiplier, the development that spins off of that activity is much better when it's local than when it would be Midwest. And I won't say a city because then I'd get in trouble from somebody that's from Chicago or wherever. But you know, it's not a bad problem we're having. It just leads to difficult circumstances. So wrapping that all up, we need every mode of transportation. We need to make all of them as effective as we can. We need to let the market decide the best way for it to flow. Congestion to roadway increases cost, which makes another one more viable, and that's what will cause the shift over time.
Varuna, anything to add on the rail part of it?
I concur on the remarks by Charlie. All modes are needed to keep up with the demand. In terms of our planning, we work closely with our rail partners to, when we do a highway project, when we have an opportunity to get rid of an at-grade crossing, you know, that's a win-win for both of us. And then when we're already grade separated, we make sure we maintain that envelope for any expansion capabilities by the rail, right? Whether they're over or under us. So it really does take kind of comprehensive planning and looking out into the future, so we're not precluding ourselves from growing.
Well, having had the privilege to work with Bruce Mann on the Gulf Coast Rail District, I can tell you at-grade rail is a big concern. That's one of the ways we can help our communities to get rid of that. So let me give each of you maybe 60 seconds, 90 seconds, just to give us your final thoughts, and then we'll let the next panel come up.
Well, I want to close by thanking you all for having me. I mean, this is great. I think it's a good demonstration of what Charlie touched on, our close partnership between TxDOT and Port of Houston and others in this room. We know we're growing, We know we've got a big challenge ahead of us, and the Houston District team, as well as all the other folks that support us across the agency, know the value of the Houston region and to the Texas economy and the national economy. And so we got to roll up our sleeves, and I'll just continue to ask for your patience and continued engagement. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I'd like to say a couple of things. One, our chairman is the lunchtime speaker today. He's got a great presentation on the overall port, so I'm excited to see that. He's a very, very talented speaker. Two, I'd like to just acknowledge I'm new in the role. I feel very, very blessed in that. I was appointed, I was told I would become this position, let's just say, in April, and there's been a transition for the last 4 months as I've gotten a lot of mentor and development from a lot of leaders to assist in this key role. And I have a great board of leaders at the commission, successful business people that are community-minded, that are very smart and very, very engaged in doing their role, and that's a blessing to have that in the leadership team. And then equally important, and I might get in trouble for saying that, is our staff. I got the best damn staff out there. They're very committed, they're very diligent. Quite a few of them are here today. And they're the smart people that tell me what to say and write my notes for me to read all night to make sure that I know what to say properly. And we've got a great team to work to support this mission. It's crucially important. It's a great time because we have so many positive things happening. And we do have the challenges that come with it, but we recognize it, and we're going to work to face and beat those challenges with all of our partners, from the industry partners to the customer base to all of our association partners and chambers, and then certainly all of the agencies up through the delegations at the state and the federal government. Everybody sees the criticality of this, and everybody, I believe, is pulling together. So that's giving me the sign and the indication this is going to be another problem as a community we solve. It just takes all of our commitment and your participation, certainly the Economic Alliance, to help do that. And if we work together, we're going to have a very bright future.
Well, my takeaway is we have two individuals who are great leaders, a lot of experience, great vision, and a real commitment to working with the community in the region. So, gentlemen, thank you all very much.
Thank you.